My name's Becky Kroger. I lived in South Africa for about 14 years of my life.
We came to be looking after Becky because my house was registered as a place of safety, which is a temporary residence for children in distress from families that have had some type of tragedy befall them.
Both my parents had died of AIDS shortly after I was born. I was just kind of left in the hospital. I wasn't being fed or anything because I wasn't expected to live.
It was Christmas time and the hospital wanted to clear its wards for the children, so I was asked to remove her from the wards and keep her until she died. There was no way of saying, no, you're not going to live. I had to fight for her, and therefore I picked her up on Christmas Day and took her home.
They looked after me, they introduced me to the rest of the family, they treated me as their child, and I will always be their child.
When she was about 2 years old, people started to be interested in South Africa, and the epidemic was getting so big. The children were dying, hundreds on a day. We had heard that there was a charity in England who was going to start trials of antiretroviral drugs.
The government had historically taken the view that those drugs might cause more harm than good. They were very expensive as well, of course, and so lots and lots of youngsters didn't get the anti-AIDS drugs they required until a British charity stepped in and funded a pilot scheme at a hospital not far from here.
I had to be in some kind of home for children that have HIV in order to be given the life-saving medication.
We made contact with Nazareth House, where 1-to-1 was starting the trials, and we begged them please to take her. And that was why, with all the love in the world, we said goodbye to her.
That must have been the most heartbreaking decision that my parents have ever made. But they did this for me so that I would survive.
This was a child that had to have a future, and there was no future for her. There was no future for any of the children in the home that she went to. They were all just waiting to have their plaque put up on the wall because they were the ones that had died. Becky couldn't wait to have her plaque put on the wall because she loved the gold colour. So she expected to die.
It's scary. Honestly, it's scary because there were times where we'd wish our friends well to go into the hospital, and then we wouldn't see them again until the day of the funeral. At the time you'd think to yourself, am I going to be next, or is one of my other close friends going to get sick and die?
And then 1-to-1 just turned that whole thing around, and she grew. She grew as a little girl into an adult. And so did the other children who lived with her. It was wonderful. Without 1-to-1, we would be going back to South Africa in a few weeks' time to do our pilgrimage to Becky's grave and put the flowers on. But we're not actually. We're going back to be with all her friends in the home to celebrate their 21st birthdays.
I feel very lucky and privileged that I have this opportunity to take these meds to be as healthy as I am today.
Many parents owe their children's lives to 1-to-1, and I really implore them not to ever pull back their support, but to try to increase it as much as they can so that more and more children can live like my Becky.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you have done for me and for everything you have done for my friends back in South Africa. Without 1-to-1, I would not be here today.